This is Sprint 1 for my term project by Russell Hayworth. As a gamer, I want to move the shooter using 4 arrow keys so that I can dodge enemies. The shooter moves to the right by 10 pixels with the right arrow key pressed. The shooter moves to the left by 10 pixels with the left arrow key pressed. The shooter moves upwards by 10 pixels with the up arrow key pressed. The shooter moves downwards by 10 pixels with the down arrow key pressed. For each of the 4 arrows, the shooter moves continuously as the key is kept pressing. User story. As a gamer, I want to move the shooter without leaving the game scene so that I can't hide from enemies. Acceptance criteria. At the right edge, the shooter does not move to the right arrow key press. At the left edge, the shooter does not move to the left arrow key press. At the top edge, the shooter does not move to the up arrow key press. At the bottom edge, the shooter does not move to the down arrow key press. At the 4 corners of the game scene, the shooter should stay inside the scene after pressing arrow keys. User story. As a gamer, I want my score to increase when I kill an enemy so that I can see my progress. Acceptance criteria. The score increases by 50 points for every alien drone that is killed. The score counter appears at the top left corner of the game screen. User story. As a gamer, I want enemies to disappear from the game screen when killed so that I can eliminate all enemies. Acceptance criteria. When an enemy is killed, the enemy disappears from the game screen. When an enemy is killed, the enemy has an animation to signify that the enemy has been killed. User story. As a gamer, I want enemies to appear in the game area when I press the start button so that I have something to kill. Acceptance criteria. When the start button is pressed, enemies spawn into the game screen. When the start button is pressed, the game starts a completely new game. As a gamer, I want my score, lives left, and current level to appear on the game screen when I start so that I know my stats during the game. Acceptance criteria. The score is shown in the top left corner of the screen. The current level is shown on the top middle of the screen. The current lives of the shooter are shown in the top right of the screen. As a gamer, I want my lives to decrease by 1 when I am hit by an enemy so that I have to dodge enemies. Acceptance criteria. Lives decrease by 1 when an enemy collides with the shooter. Lives do not decrease when an enemy is in its killed animation. As a missile, I want to travel along the line from the shooter to the mouse press location so that I can trace the target. Acceptance criteria. The missile launches always from the barrel end of the shooter as shooter changes its location. The missile launches and travels to the mouse press location. The missile trajectories are correct when mouse press locations are upper right, upper left, down right, and down left of the shooter location. As a missile, I want to explode myself after I arrive at the mouse press location so that the missile gives attractive visual effects. Acceptance criteria. The missile radius increases at the mouse press location as the center of the missile. The missile radius stops increasing at the radius of 35 pixels. The missile disappears from the game scene once explosion radius reaches 35 pixels. As an alien drone, I want to appear in the game when the user presses the start button so that the user can start the game. Alien drone appears when start button is pressed. Alien drone begins moving when start button is pressed.